Hello, welcome to Local Matters. My name is Vicki Evans. When members of the Pima County Interfaith Council went into Tucson neighborhoods and talked to thousands of people about what it is those people needed most, the answer was good paying jobs. Well, that was about 12 years ago, and because of that need, JobPath was born. Please welcome Andrea Robeson. Andrea, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
And Andrea is the president of the JobPath Board of Directors. And then we welcome Melanie Nelson. Melanie, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And Melanie is the recruiter and employer liaison with JobPath. So again, thank you both so much for being here.
Thanks.
Let's talk about, I gave a thumbnail sketch, as I like to say, of take us back 12 years ago. Let's do that,
Sure.
all right?
Sure.
And what even precipitated members of the Interfaith Council going into the neighborhoods?
Right. Well, PCIC deals with grassroots issues, things that come up from what real people are dealing with. And one of the ways we find out is to go out into the neighborhoods in a neighborhood walk. So we walked in about 10 neighborhoods, actually twice during those years, and asked people what was going on with them. And for the most part, we thought we'd hear crime, bad streets, bad schools, that kind of thing. But what we heard was people were working 2, sometimes 3 minimum wage jobs, couldn't have any time for their families. They were really struggling and they were at a dead end. So we took that information back and then we started talking to businesses about what's going on with you. And what we heard is we have jobs, but we don't have skilled employees. And the job training that was available in town, while it was good, was not meeting their needs. So we put the two together, combined it with a model that we had seen working with sister organizations in Texas, modified it to our needs, and JobPath was born. Well, the concept was born, but then we had to go after the funding.
Right, right.
And so when we wanted it to be funded by the city and the county out of general fund money, so we had maximum flexibility to really operate.
Right. Well, let's talk a little. It almost sounds as though you read the situation 12 years ago about what's happening today. You know, and here you've added economy devastated and jobs not available.
Right.
Plus, the skilled labor. So let's talk a little, Melanie. Maybe you could start us off about just what the situation is like in Tucson right now. Maybe some figures about what the median, the average wage is.
The average wage in Tucson right now is about $33,000 a year, and the reason we were created is because this isn't it's not a common thing for people to be looking for job training or anything like that, or to better themselves. And when there's transitions in the types of markets that cities are focused on, it changes. So here in Tucson, we tended to be more customer service oriented because we didn't have a skilled labor force to attract larger companies.
Can you talk, we've got this slide up here. It says poverty in some areas in our community is 30%.
Yeah. I'm actually, there's a couple of pockets around Tucson that have extreme poverty of families that are struggling just to be able to get by from minimum wage jobs. And
so
it's
they're
difficult
working.
to survive.
Yeah.
Some families are working. Some families, and what we have at JobPath is people that don't want to stay in that situation.
Right.
And so it's...
How does this affect children? Because I noticed before we took it off, there was a statistic about the percentage of children.
The percentage of children
who are living in poverty.
Who are living in poverty, and most children end up having the education of their parents, mainly the mom. So they'll achieve usually whatever it is that the mom has achieved. And we've seen that change of people that go through JobPath. But the other effect is that in Tucson, we have a high school dropout rate. And so we've got many adults that left high school and now are struggling, especially right now in this economy, to find something.
Right.
Because when you've got people that are skilled, that've got more of a degree than, at least have a high school diploma, they're the ones that are going to get the jobs and not the ones without.
Right. Well, let's talk about the agency's strengths, how you operate a little bit. Andrea?
Okay. The way we operate is to create a culture in which the participant is just a participant. They're not a client, okay? They're a participant, and we go in and we work with them to set up a plan for their education. And it includes not just what they're going to study and the job they're going to achieve, but how they're going to manage their lives and their finances during that period. Because while we provide financial resources, we don't provide 100% of everything they're going to need. So they need to figure out how they're going to work, how they're going to balance school and work, part-time work, and their families in that period.
So again, we've got one of your slides up, and it's talking about individualized case management, and that's kind of what you're talking about right now, right? And peer support, which is great. I mean, that's for so many issues in our life. A support group is so good.
But it also includes more than just peer support about what's happening with school, but what's happening at home, because the main goal of working inside the peer support model is addressing any barriers that could be barriers to have education be the focus. And so counselors work with participants to look at what their entire financial plan is as well as their educational plan. And so it's a cohesive effort of really addressing the needs. So the focus is graduation and completion, successful completion. And counselors work with them in there to find out any barriers that they may have. And sometimes it's, I'm going to run against foreclosure. I don't want to drop out of school because then I need to get another job and those things. And so we're able to provide emergency services for certain situations. Now, we're not going to ride people. They already have a mom.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's to really address the issue of ensuring that the education is first and foremost.
Who is, maybe you could, and this may be too generalized a question, could you describe perhaps a classic or typical JobPath student?
Sure. We had a young woman who was able to finish high school and started just working in the workforce, and she ended up becoming a single mom. She found that it's very tough to be a single mom working on minimum wage salaries, so she looked to go back to school. She entered the dental assisting program first, 9-month program. After 9 months, she wasn't making $8 an hour. She was then making about $16 an hour. She wanted to continue on because she wanted to be an example for her son, and continued on to dental hygiene. After dental hygiene, she then graduated, is a very successful and proud mom, and especially to see her son there say how proud he was at her graduation, because then she had a career, a stable career, and was making about $38 an hour.
Wow, wow.
One of my most exciting times is at the annual graduation. All of the students sit up in the front, and other kids are there, and they're crawling on the floor, and they're just, I mean, it's so great to see them there, and they know their moms are studying, or their dads sometimes, but their moms are studying hard, and it gets them in a whole different place for going on to school.
It does. It's talk about role model, and if you see your parents, as you said earlier today, you said earlier, children kind of are doomed to repeat their parents' educational level. Is that right?
Yes, and predominantly the mother. And if it's a single dad, and we've had single dads inside of our program, it's their parents. And so that's where we come in for those that haven't been able to do it and just need an additional step up.
Yeah, right. So what are some of the JobPath outcomes?
Okay, well, we've listed a lot.
Okay,
here, so
that's okay. Let's hear some
my,
here.
Let me get my cheat sheet. Our graduation and retention rate is over 90%. So that means that somebody who starts our program, 9 out of 10 are going to finish, which is extraordinarily high in the world of job training. So that's, I think, the thing that we're most proud of. We are training, we train people of all backgrounds, but over 50% of the people we work with are minority. So we're reaching down to the folks that have the hardest time. And we're pretty good at putting the money directly to the program-related aspects. So 85 cents of every dollar goes to direct program assistance to the students and the counseling and the support that they need. So that's good. I think our biggest success is that we have a 98% job placement rate. And that's because
90% graduation rate, 98% job placement rate?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, our biggest focus is that we train people for jobs that are in demand in Tucson, and we assist our participants in ensuring that they get those jobs, and our counselors work very closely with them to do that. And they start early, before they're done with school.
Yeah.
At least 6 to 9 months before they're done with school, they're out there talking to employers.
So, and I know we're going to talk more about this later. So a typical JobPath education timeline is what, about a couple of years?
It depends on the program. Many of them are 2-year programs. The nursing program, some of the med tech programs are 2 years. We also have some specialized things that are shorter certificate programs that take less than that. But we want to focus on long-term training. We want folks to really be prepared for what they're going to encounter.
Right.
And so as a result, we've been able to take wages from a typical participant will start at $16,000, $18,000. That's what they're making before they start. By the time they finish, the average wage is $47,000. So
Wow.
it's just, it's
More than double.
more than double. Yeah. And that, I think, is the outcome that really makes a difference. It makes a difference in our participants' lives, and it makes a difference for the city, because now they are fully participating student
Again, that ripple effect, and in this case,
right.
it's
Right.
yeah, they become
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, Melanie?
No, I was just going to add some of the other things that JobPath has done has been to really look ahead and find out what the trends are inside the community. So years ago, we became involved with biotechnology. Then it was, oh, what the heck is that? And we helped to really create a biotechnology career ladder here in Tucson with Pima College, and helped them to establish their biotechnology associates and certificates, and were able to get students into the program, and even had a high school program for it, so it wasn't just retraining adults into new careers, but also introducing the next generation into it. And has been very successful. It is now self-sustaining, and we have a biotechnology career ladder where there are many jobs in demand right now.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the economic impact of JobPath on the local economy.
Sure. We actually had a study done to do the economic impact, and they focused on the last 3 years. And so during that time, the economic impact on the community was $16.1 million. And that's based on an annual budget. Probably during those 3 years, we spent less than $3 million to produce that return.
So for 3 years, you spent less than $3 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those people that went through the program in those 3 years contributed $16
0.1
million to the
Yes,
economy.
yes, that's how they work with the multiplier
Yeah.
effect
Yeah.
that you were talking about, and their wages.
Yeah.
And even probably more significant from the city and state standpoint is that we saved the city and state almost $700,000 a year in welfare type transfer payments that would have had taken place if these people hadn't been in the training.
Wow.
Yep. So about $2 million we've saved of removing people off of taxpayer assistance to self-sustaining members inside the community that are very proud, and it'll show a direct effect in the next generation.
Right, right. Well, we're going to take a look right now at some of the current trends, and I want to make sure I say this right, current local workforce trends in high growth industries, and that's exactly what JobPath is preparing people to do. So let's take a look.
So what do we need, like a half inch?
Like millions of other Americans, Donald Nays is feeling the economic squeeze as he and his wife raise 3 children, tackle their bills, and try to save for the future. But after working in construction, maintenance, and restaurants, Nays is hoping to improve his financial odds by embarking on a new career. He attends the Aviation Technology Center at Pima Community College, returning to an interest and passion since childhood.
Well, when I was a kid, my dad was a pilot. And we grew up at the end of an airport in Arlington, Washington, so I was always around airplanes. It's kind of been with me my whole life.
The men and women here are studying aviation modification and repairs. They learn essential technical skills and earn important certificates which are in high demand and pay well.
How much money could I make? Well, it depends. If you stay locally, you could make, I know a lot of the AMPs that are maybe have 5 years experience are making $60,000 to $80,000. A lot of people that go overseas, you can make $150,000 in different places.
Better than construction or restaurant management?
Yeah, and the work's a lot better. I mean, it's such a fun career to be in. I mean, to be around the big birds all the time and everything involved with that is just great. It's awesome.
But Nays and other students here couldn't have done it by themselves. They're participating in JobPath, a local program which provides financial assistance, counseling, and support.
A lot of people just don't have the opportunity to go to school if they're trying to support a family and then would have to pay tuition, or even if they had tuition covered, they still have so many other barriers they have to deal with. So we can work with them to work some of those out. It might mean moving back home. It may mean going from full-time work to part-time work, because we want people to succeed.
JobPath was created in 1998 by PCIC, the Pima County Interfaith Council, and most of its funding comes from Pima County and the city of Tucson. It has helped more than 1,300 participants with academic retention and graduation rates of more than 85%. And supporters say it makes a big financial difference in their lives. On average, they increase their wages by more than $27,000 annually per person compared to pre-training salaries.
And that's very significant. It keeps people in Tucson. It keeps people employed. It raises the level of skills throughout the community so that other companies can be attracted to the area.
I have standing invitations for any of my students to go to work in multiple companies across the country because of the type of training they get. If you spend the time to learn this career field, it'll be pretty much one that you can take with you for your entire working adult life.
Al Lavender is also studying avionics after serving in the Marine Corps for more than a decade.
They've helped me out a lot. I get the GI Bill from being in the service, but there's always things that you can't quite cover. Books, they've helped me with books. They paid my rent a few times. They paid my truck payment a few times. We get gas cards every month, which is a tremendous help these days. And they're also helping me with my avionics tuition.
JobPath says the program focuses on careers that are growing and offer good wages and benefits like aviation and nursing.
Yeah, you have to think about that a little bit because hospitals don't hire LPNs.
That's what Ellie Fields and Kelly Black are studying, and they say it would have been impossible without support. Each has 2 children and all the responsibilities that go with them.
From the very beginning of the program, which was August of last year, until currently, she's probably totaled around $1,100.
And these are $1,100 that?
In tuition that I did not have.
I found out about it through Pima when I came to my orientation and decided to get involved because I have 2 small children and a husband and I can't afford to pay for school by myself.
So how is this making your dream possible?
Because JobPath pays for my tuition, and if they didn't, I wouldn't be able to come to school because I can't afford it without them.
My mom's an RN. I was raised talking about nursing stuff at the dinner table. So, and when I was pregnant with my twins, it became clear that I needed to have a set future, you know, something solid for me to make a solid life for all 3 of us.
And that's the goal of the students here, striving for balance and security when there's so much uncertainty in the air.
This is a great investment for the community, yeah. There's not many jobs that you can get that you can do as well as this, and I would encourage anybody to support it.
And you can contact JobPath. They're located at 655 North Alvernon Way and Suite 205. That's 655 North Alvernon Way, Suite 205. You can also call 324-0402. That's 324-0402. And always check out the website, jobpath.net. That's jobpath.net. And you are, I got caught looking around. You're watching Local Matters, and we are talking about JobPath. I'm Vicki Evans, and we're joined by Andrea Robeson and Melanie Nelson with JobPath. And we've just been learning remarkable things about this remarkable organization. Let's talk about these current trends and how you shift your focus. How you said earlier in the show, you surveyed or realized 5, 6, 7 years ago biotech would be a growing concern. Now it's nursing, the medical field, and
Yeah, and what we've also found is that about close to 60% of our participants that have graduated from JobPath have actually gone into the allied health professions and a variety of different ones. And they're still in demand now, and so we are currently looking for people that want to become a certified nursing assistant or CNA, licensed practical nurse, LPNs, and nurses, people that want to look at these careers we're ready. We have some funding to be able to pursue participants who are motivated to pursue these careers, and they are high-paying jobs. They are high-paying jobs, and we're also looking at right now, one of the bigger ones that is also in demand is aviation mechanics. As we saw in the video, aviation is a growing field. It's something that's not going away. And another one that most people don't think of, but everybody goes twice a year, is to the dentist's office. There's a big demand for dental assistants right now inside the community, and those are programs that we're sponsoring participants, again, who are motivated to pursue these different careers.
All right. So how is the economic, how is this, 6-month economic crisis that we're in, how does it affect how you view incoming students, and is there an availability? Are you losing funding? I mean, is it harder for you to help students? Are you looking to increase training in other areas? What's the impact for you?
Well, one of the original ways, and we told the story of how JobPath was created, is that Tucson has a lack of a really skilled workforce, and we have been doing a successful job inside of it, and we're looking to continue that into the future of creating a trained workforce for jobs that are in demand inside the community, but also so we can be a much more attractive community to attract bigger businesses as well. And Andy, do you want to talk about our current situation?
Well, because we have public funding, city and county, and they're hurting, so we have had program cuts, and to the point where our enrollment this year is down very considerably from what it was last year because we don't have the funds. It costs us, in a 2-year program, it costs a little over $3,000 per student per year to train them. Now, when you compare that with your typical college education, that is a real bargain. Yeah, but we have a huge waiting list right now because of the economy, and we know that people are just really hurting. They're calling up looking for jobs through us, which is not really the way we operate. But we're seeing in the community how important it is to use this time when more people are available and could really benefit from job training to be able to do it. And so we could easily take another 200 students if we had the funding.
Right. And let's talk about your job too then, Melanie, as a liaison with employers. What is their situation right now? And
well,
what kind of relationship do you have to develop with them?
Well, there's a variety of different ones, and the biggest thing is finding out, okay, what jobs are in demand right now, but more importantly, what are the skills that employees need when they come into the door?
Right.
Yeah, it's not just, okay, what's happening, give me the numbers and that's it. No, we're in the process of really developing strong relationships with employers inside the community and finding out, okay, what are the absolute skills that employees need to be able to be successful in your job? And we work with the college to be able to assess that and create that. And we've gotten great letters of recommendation of people who have graduated from our program, and they have an easier transition time into hospitals. They have an easier transition time into the workplace because of the training that is provided. Because we're a bit more holistic when they have the peer support meetings and everything.
Well, let's just thinking, let's do a checklist for those that are listening, and especially for young people who are thinking or have dropped out of high school and are now aware that there are no good paying jobs without some type of education and training. What are the basic things? You just said check a list that employers, what kinds of skills do you absolutely have to have?
Well, one of the big ones is communication skills and being able to work collectively inside of a team. It's also...
What do you mean by communication skills? Just the ability to talk?
Or not talk too much
I would be earning $1 million.
No, but it's really being able to also be creative thinkers and have some critical analysis skills.
Give us an example.
Well, when you go into a job in aviation, an aviation mechanic, it's not just learning what it is that you're supposed to do, it's also being able to see of where you may need additional training or question things if you don't see things going right. And that requires some critical analysis skills, being able to critique and look at the holistic picture of what is happening inside your work environment to see what it is that's going to be needed to be done so you can foresee that there's going to be a problem. If you're doing something over and over again and you see that, it's not working, some piece is wrong or something like that, and you put everything together right, but it was maybe a different piece that needed to be, wasn't manufactured correctly, of stopping it and saying, okay, look, there's a problem here, let's get this addressed and take care of it.
And how to do that really so it's successful and positive rather than,
Right.
What, are you having to do remedial writing at all? Writing and just being able to put people's writing and language skills.
Some of the biggest barriers are getting people up to the correct skill level to be successful inside the classroom environment. And we've worked we've helped establish some strong relationships with organizations like Pima College Adult Education, who have been experts. I mean, we're not interested in recreating the wheel if it already exists inside the community, but working with them to look at some remedial pieces. And we actually have worked with aviation in particular, and also some of the healthcare fields to do that.
Okay. Time has gone fast, so I want to make sure that we get in. How does someone really apply and become a student? What qualifications, age? So tell us what people have to do or who's qualified to become part of JobPath.
For a traditional program, JobPath, they can call our office number, the general number, and ask to attend the next orientation. After that, we'll also have them contact Pima Community College to see about enrolling inside the program as well. They'll do skills tests, find out exactly where they're at, and then their next step is to contact and schedule a meeting with our counselors to initiate the process. And so that's where they go there from there.
So is there an age limit?
No, we're looking for people above 18 for the core programs, and we've had people that are in their late 50s that have come into the program that are productive inside the workforce.
Right. Why do you think, Andrea, that JobPath has been so successful?
I think it's about the culture that we create. I mentioned before that our people are participants, they're not clients. And I think that the number one thing is the quality of our counseling. And that takes place, one-on-one as well as in the peer support. And that's what keeps people on track. They can see when the financial difficulties come, provide a little bit of help, but it's really talking things through, knowing there's somebody at your back. And I think, so from the student's viewpoint, that's the most important. The other thing is we train for real jobs with really good incomes.
All right. And if you want to make a donation to JobPath, let's get that information up for you really quickly, if we can, if we have time. Maybe I'm being, great.
There we are.
JobPath, 655 North Alvernon Way, phone number 324-0402, and the website is jobpath.net. That's jobpath.net. Yeah. And for someone who's thinking, should I or shouldn't I, we've got about 10 seconds. What would be your answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Because you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it, and we have the support system in place for you to succeed, and there are jobs that are in demand in Tucson.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thanks.
Thanks.